welcome back to my YouTube channel, and you are watching The Nerdy Grail. So, today is a double wickedly special day today. I have two uploads, both centered around, you've probably guessed it, Wicked. The one is actually an unboxing of that vinyl soundtrack, which is a beautiful vinyl soundtrack. So if you have not checked out my video unboxing that bad boy, please go and check it out. It is a fantastic looking vinyl, especially that interior artwork. Oh my goodness, I need a poster of that. And now in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Wicked movie, or should I say Wicked Part 1. Because yes, this is a two-part movie. It was originally advertised as a two-part movie briefly when it was first announced, but then they took the part 1 away, and for a very long time it was just called Wicked. So we thought, is it actually going to be a two-part movie? But then when the film starts and the title does come up, they do add the part 1 back in, and at the end of the movie it does actually say to be continued. And we did know a little bit a while ago actually that part 2 is going to come out next year. It's due to come out roughly around a similar time to this one. It's supposed to come out in November. I believe the 25th, 26th of November, if I'm not mistaken. It's around that ballpark though. But in this video, I'm going to be giving you my review of the Wicked Part 1 movie. The positives, the negatives, got to talk about the good and the bad. But I will say I did enjoy the movie, and there is a lot more good than there is bad. In fact, there's very little bad, in my personal opinion. I know other people might say that they found more bad, but, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But first, when we got to the cinema, and I've never really got into getting these, special cups, but I know my fiancée really loves Wicked. She saw them, she wanted to grab one, and so it made me want to get one as well. They were doing these promotional cups for the film, which are gorgeous, might I say. That rubbery, textury feel, the silhouettes all around. You've got Elphaba there. You got the broom, the Wicked logo, which you can feel. You got an Elphaba sat on top as well, which does come off. You can take it off and have it separate. So if you just want to have a little mini Elphaba figure and not keep the cup, then that's perfectly fine. I'd say probably either twist her around like that, or take her off completely when drinking, because it can affect you when you drink. But yeah, it's a really nice cup. They didn't have any Glinda ones from what we could see. It was just Elphaba, but I actually wanted the Elphaba one. So me and my fiancée both got one of these. But enough about the cup. It's not a cup review. It's a movie review. So this is a musical fantasy movie that was adapted to the big screen based from the 2005 stage musical of the same name, which was also based on the 1995 novel of the same name by Gregory Maguire. So there's a lot of history that goes behind Wicked, and Wicked being one of the biggest musicals out there. I know when my fiancée was introducing me to musicals, she was like, we've got to go see Wicked. We have to see Wicked. I've seen it loads. And so we made it our mission this year, especially with Wicked being released, that we would see it, and so we did. And it was fantastic, might I say. The seeing it live was brilliant. No qualms there. I loved it. But yes, it's a musical fantasy movie. It is very long. The duration of this movie is around 2 hours and 40 minutes. So snacks and drinks are required. Try to go to the toilet beforehand because you don't want to miss it. It's a visual masterpiece, this film. It is gorgeous. And the cinematography in this is fantastic. Just everything, if I'm being honest. But yeah, the composer, which I did describe on the vinyl, Stephen Schwartz, fantastic music that just makes you want to sing along from start to finish. Some of my favourite songs are The Wizard and I is definitely a really good one. Sung by Elphaba herself, Cynthia Enrivo, who does a fantastic job, might I say, in this movie. Then I would say another of my favourites is Popular with Ariana Grande, who plays Glinda. She also did a fantastic job in this movie as well, for the most part. And then I'd say my other favourite song has got to be the one that they used on all the trailers, that they play clips of on the radio when they get the cast members in. It's got to be Defying Gravity, because that's the song that ends the film. I should also say that this is a spoiler review. I'm not holding back with this review. So if you don't want any spoilers, please go and see Wicked beforehand. But there, those are my top 3 songs from the film overall. Really, really good. So the composer, fantastic. Absolutely gorgeous. It was produced by Mark Platt and David Stone. The director, John M. Chu. And the budget for this film, I believe, was somewhere in the ballpark of 140 to 150 million. I could be a bit mistaken on that, but I'm fairly certain that's what it was. So it had a reasonably high budget for this film. And I mean, for a film like this, which is going to be split into 2 parts, you sort of kind of need it, but it's how you use that budget. And I think they used it in a very, very good way. And then the screenwriter was Winnie Holtzman. So overall, a fantastic crew behind the scenes. Everyone did a fantastic job with this movie. Okay. So how does this movie start? Well, this movie actually starts, if I want to treat this just as a movie as a whole, if you haven't gone to see the musical live on stage, if I treat this as a movie, how does it begin? It sort of starts with the future events. So it starts that the Wicked Witch of the West is dead. So if you've seen the movie The Wizard of Oz, you know how the Wicked Witch gets killed. Dorothy throwing the bucket of water over her, melting her, because that was her quest. Which I love The Wizard of Oz as well. Fantastic movie. But it starts with that, and Munchkinland and everyone in Oz are celebrating that she's finally gone, and Glinda comes down from her big bubble to sing along with all the Munchkins, you know, sort of talking about how all the wickedness has now gone from the land. But one of the Munchkins does ask her a question based on a rumour saying, were you and the Wicked Witch of the West actually friends? And she almost looked like she didn't want to admit it, but she did end up admitting, saying, yes, that we did cross paths once before, way back in school. What I find cool and interesting, and it'd be interesting to see what they do in part 2, whether they actually cast anyone to play these characters, is you do briefly from the back see Dorothy, the lion, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and Toto walking back to the Emerald City with the Wicked Witch's broom. So that was pretty cool. That was a visual masterpiece, seeing that from the back, the panning shot of the Emerald City as well. It's gorgeous. But then it flashes back then to all the new material that you wouldn't have seen in The Wizard of Oz, because this takes place before the events of all of that even happening. And you get to see Elphaba being born, and you find out obviously she was born green. There was these little vials of green liquid that the mother was taking from this mysterious salesman at the time, and that potentially was the result of why Elphaba was green. But Elphaba was different. She had these powers that she couldn't really control. She was unsure about them, and her father sort of almost disowned her, really, and showed hatred towards her for the rest of her life. But Elphaba does get taken in by this friendly little bear, who mothers her like her own. And Elphaba does eventually go to school in the Shiz Academy, which is beautifully stunning as well, where she does encounter Glinda and goes to school, but along the way her powers are starting to come out more and more, which piques the interest of the students, who also have a bit of a distaste for Elphaba. But some of the teachers are showing a good interest in her, and so want to take her under her wing to try and hone her powers, to try and see if they could be used in some way. And the rest of the cast are really, really good. You know, along the way, she does eventually hone her powers a little bit more. She eventually goes to see the wizard, who's played by Jeff Goldblum, who is hilarious as an actor. I love Jeff Goldblum in everything that he does. Doesn't matter what film he's in, he is fantastic. And he's not in this an awful lot. So if you're going to this film for Jeff Goldblum, I would say that you'll be a little bit disappointed here, because he doesn't come into it until, I want to say, probably about the 2-hour mark, nearly. So he's not in the majority of the film, but he will, now that I've seen the musical, he probably will be in the second film a lot more. But yeah, if you're going for Jeff Goldblum, you might be a little bit disappointed, but what he is in is really, really good. So she does go to see the wizard, because she wants to ask the wizard a question, because during her time in school, while trying to fit in, which she does struggle to do, but eventually does, because Glinda does try to befriend her after them bickering all the time, she finds out that animals who used to be teachers in the school, are going missing. There's this big conspiracy going on where they're being taken away, their voices are being taken away, and she finally steps up after the last animal teacher, who I didn't actually know was played by Peter Dinklage. But I did vaguely recognise the voice at the time. But Peter Dinklage plays Dr. Dillman, who's this goat teacher. Who's not in it an awful lot, but I loved him when I saw the stage musical. So I was really looking forward to seeing him on the big screen. So that was cool. But when he gets taken away and replaced, Elphaba wants to find out what's going on, and hopefully the wizard can help. But she actually finds out that it's the wizard who is doing all of this, and gets really mad at the wizard, refuses his offer to join him on his quest, because she also finds out that the wizard is actually not all-powerful. So if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, you would also know that as well, because Dorothy finds that out. He's just a regular guy who just came to Oz by accident in a hot air balloon. And she sort of then rebels against the wizard and becomes the full Wicked Witch of the West. Because that's what this film essentially is. It is just the origin story for the Wicked Witch of the West, more or less. It's how she got from being this friendly character to being the cold-hearted character that we see in The Wizard of Oz. But it gives you reasons as to why she did it. It allows you to sympathise with her. And to an extent, you really do sympathise with Elphaba, because she was just trying to fit in. She was just trying to be a good person. She was just trying to help people. But she was just being used by people, So it is sad. So you go into this film knowing what happens to her, which is unfortunate. Like, I spent the whole film knowing, well, we know what you're going to turn out to be in the end, which is a shame, but you can't help but root for her the whole film. And I love the relationship that she has with Glinda, both when they're bickering at each other and then when they are essentially best friends. Like I said, the whole cast do a great job as well. You've got other characters in this film as well. Jonathan Bailey plays this prince character, Fiero. He's really cool. He has a few good songs of his own. He's very cheeky, very he's passive aggressive at times, and his facial expressions. He spends a lot of the film doing this, or just staring blankly. I love it. Ethan Slater playing Bok, lovely character, lovely munch. He's a munchkin in this film. He is a lot of fun. I love Bok a lot. Obviously, I said Jeff Goldblum as the wizard. You had Peter Dinklage, which I didn't know about, as Dr. Dillman. You got Marissa Bode, who plays Nessa Rose, who's Elphaba's sister. She does a really good job as well. Even she's not in it an awful lot, but for what she is in it, she does a really good job. You've got Andy Neyman, who plays Elphaba's father, Frexbar Frop. You're supposed to I think you're supposed to not like him for how he treats Elphaba, but it is strange. The way he comes across in his anger is it feels very forced, if I'm honest. He does good for what it's worth, though. And then you got Michelle Yeoh, who plays one of the other teachers in the school, Madame Morrible, who's training Elphaba, trying to hone her powers, and sends a letter off to the wizard to find out what they can do with her, really, because you find out that she secretly is sort of in cahoots with the wizard. But yeah, all the cast do a fantastic job. And overall, it's just a big, grand film. It's a positive, in my opinion. So when I said I'm doing positives and negatives, this is it, really. That's the positives and that's the negatives. The only negative that I have of this film, in all honesty, is sort of how it is a bit long. It's a bit too long, and there was times where it did feel a bit drawn out. But overall, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that is going to be my review for Wicked. I'm sorry if I rambled a little bit, but I'm still hyped from the film. It was really, really good, hence why I got the vinyl. I've put my pre-order in for the Steelbook and the 4K, so I will be doing an unboxing of those when they eventually come out. Had to get the cup. It's just a film that has actually blown my mind, really. And like I said, the only negative for me was that it was a bit too long, and there was some characters that I would have liked to have seen more, especially with a runtime of nearly 3 hours, really. there's a lot more you could have done, but they were sort of sticking for the most part to previous content that they put out. So I'm guessing that's kind of why. But that is my review. I hope you did enjoy this video. Please like it by giving it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you are new. And comment down below. What are your thoughts on the movie? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just alright? But let's please remember to be respectful in the comments down below. But I hope you have an amazing day. This is the Nerdy Grail signing out, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now, everyone.